Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hi, this is Combat Sports UK. I'm Danny Galloway, and I've got the absolute pleasure of being joined today by Jai Herbert, who's going to be fighting at UFC London yet again on the 22nd of July. Jai, how are you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I'm just here, man. Excited, enjoying the weather. And excited to fight in a few weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all can't wait to watch you fight again. It's always good stuff when you fight. We'll get straight into it. Just thanks again for joining us before we start. I wanted to just have a little touch on you on last time we saw you, which was again at UFC London the last time round. I was wondering how did you sort of process that fight afterwards in terms of it was a weird result, right? I mean, I feel like that was a period of time where the refs were a little bit trigger happy on the points. And did you sort of take that as a win because when you look away from the points, you did get the nod on all three scorecards, or was it? Did you feel like it was a setback? How did you sort of feel about that?
No, I wouldn't say it was a setback. I did feel like I feel like I've won the fight, but obviously it was a draw. You know, I didn't win, but I feel like I only lost due to the point deduction. If it wasn't a point deduction, I clearly would have won. So, you know, I just took the positives there. Obviously, I was happy with my performance. You know, obviously, if everyone who watched the fight knows that I clearly won, just except for the point deduction, and I did that against a skilled opponent in Ludovic Klein. You know, so I showed that, showed my levels, and I've just been improving since then. And I'm going to be, you know, my next fight, you'll see an even better version of myself.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the fight myself, so obviously, when you're at fights, I'm sure you've thought of this before. You've obviously got way less influence in terms of you've not looked online, and so you have no idea what the consensus of the scorecards are. But I was there, and I actually thought you won all three rounds in person. So I was still actually expecting you to get the nod, and then I didn't think a draw was a robbery with the point taken away. But I think it was quite clear to everyone, as you say, that you did actually get the better of minimum 2 of the 3 rounds. And I was just wondering, as you think, right, although on my record it goes down as a draw, but you can almost sort of see it as, yeah, I did get the better of him.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, like I said, I thought I won all 3 rounds, to be honest. I watched it back. I tried to be impartial, and I still thought I won all 3 rounds. So yeah, I did get the better of him in all of the rounds. So, you know, I take the positives out of that, showing that, I showed my levels, I showed improvements, and you know, that's what I'm looking to do again. I've stepped my level up again, and I'm excited to show a different version of myself.
Okay, great. Well, as I say, yeah, I couldn't agree more in terms of the scoring there. Another thing about the last time at 286 in London is that from being there, it felt like you had so much support, and to this day, I was sat around four lads, and they were all from Wolverhampton, and it felt like they all knew you personally, but I've no idea if they did. How was that sort of fighting? Obviously, because you had yourself, Leon, and Jake all fighting on the same card, there was so much support just for Renegade, and there was so many guys, whether they knew you or not, that had travelled from the Midlands to support you. How was that? Just feeling like it was almost like a hometown fight, even though it was in London.
You know what? I think we've got a lot of support. You know, I think it's because we what's the word? A lot of people can relate to relate to us, like our kind of background. You know what I mean? We're from, you know, like a working class frigging, you know, Wolverhampton. We're hard workers. You know, myself, I've, you know, come up. You know, I've had done, you know, I've been I was a scaffolder. I come from a council estate, you know, and I've got to the biggest promotion in the world in mixed martial arts. You know, a lot of people can relate to sort of my background, if you know what I mean. So they want to see me do well. And same goes with Jake Hadley and obviously Leon as well. You know, people relate to them and love their stories. You know, they've all got, especially Leon's, you know what I mean, coming from Jamaica, the troubles he's been through. You know, Jake, same as me, from the Black Country. You know, a hard-working family. So a lot of people resonate with us and they relate to us. So I think that's why we get a lot of support. You know what I mean? And I'm just overwhelmed by it too much. Sometimes, like, I'm not even. I think I was second on the last fight, and I walked out at the weigh-ins, and I still get like one of the biggest cheers. You know what I mean? Which is great, man. Just goes to show that like people are actually like out there and supporting me, and I feel like another couple of good wins. That fan base will even rise even more. Do you know what I mean? And the UFC will take notice of that.
Definitely, yeah. And as you say, you got one of the biggest cheers. It felt like you had one of the most supports there as well. And as you said, you were second on. And a lot of these UFC events you see like that are in Vegas and whatever, it's 2 fights in, there's nobody in the crowd, is there? But it wasn't like that at all. It felt like as one of the loudest fights of the night, and it was second on. So you definitely had the support, and it felt like there was a lot of people from Midlands, but there was guys like me who aren't from the Midlands, and they were all supporting you guys as well. And I think that's because of what you said. You're dead relatable, and that goes for all three of you. So obviously, you've just touched on a few of your teammates there at Renegade. I feel like since we've all seen the viral video of Dave in Salt Lake, since that Renegade has really been sort of put on the map as not just one of the best UK gyms, but it's sort of seen as this gym has got absolute killers, and it's obviously yourself and Jake, and then you've got guys like Arnold who are traveling to train there occasionally, and Ian Gary's popped in, I think, as well, and then obviously Fabian, who's doing his thing in a different promotion. How's life changed, as in on an everyday basis at Renegade since that, or has it just been exactly the same?
It's just been exactly the same, The only thing that's different is literally our skill levels. We've all improved, and I think, like I've said it before in other interviews, I feel like because of and obviously because of Leon's won the title, and because of like I'm in the UFC, Leon's in the UFC. We've got guys like Tom Breeze there, obviously Fabian, Tim Wild, Aiden Lee. The list goes on, and people have come over to train with us, like you say, Arnold. There's been many people to come and train there, and it just like helps us because it was new bodies, and obviously other top level athletes coming, fighters. It helps us improve as well. So we just all we've all improved, and we're just all pushing each other, especially because we've all got the same goal, to be the best in the world. So we're constantly pushing each other every day. So it's a blessing. It's a special time at the moment at Renegade, and I'm very fortunate to be involved.
And so you talk about there's obviously guys like Arnold who've come over and given you better looks. Have you found since that a lot of, have there been more amateurs that are just sort of, or like people who've never trained before rocking up at Renegade and being like, I want to be at the best gym, or is that sort of, or have you not really noticed things like that?
Yeah, like I say, there's been a lot of we've got a good amateur team at the moment actually. This past few months they've really started to come on. They've started to take like guys who haven't fought before, and then they've started they've had their like debuts and that, and they're really doing well. I mean, there's even a couple of them that I'm starting to train with myself, like spar with myself, that are starting to, because in at Renegade, yeah, there's a big mat, and then there's the mat in the back, and when it's time to spar, like we do with Joby does the striking classes with the sparring, and when we've done the warm up and that, we do the drills, and then when it's time to spar, he says amateurs in the small room and pros staying on the main mat, and the ones that are doing well in the back room, slowly start to get called into the big room, like onto the big mats. Now some of them will be a bit nervous about it, like, but some of them will just like thrive on it, you know what I mean? But to tell you the truth, there's a few amateurs who are just they're like with the pros, like Shay Ingram. I don't know if you know, I think he's about 7-0. Struggles to get fights because he's that good. I've been training with him since he was 16. So, and there's other amateurs there that like they're always in on the pro match because they're that good. But there is like that the back room is for like the guys who are just like coming up, and a few of them have started to come into the pro room now because they're getting at a level where they can train with us, and it's helping them, but it's also helping us because it's giving us different looks because there's different body types. You know what I mean? So like I say, it's really good, man. And amateurs like are coming on really good, so they're just helping the pros improve too.
Yeah, I mean, it's dead interesting though what you say about having the two rooms because it does make sense because when you've got elite pros like you guys, you don't want random people walking in who are just going to try and take heads off in sparring, and you kind of got to trust them a bit, haven't you, before you can actually get in there with them.
Yeah, like I say, the guys in the back room, it's because obviously because it's that busy at Renegade. Do you know what I mean? We've got like so many people there that the amateurs have to go in the back room, and because obviously they're not like at a level that some of it they can train us because they could they're doing obviously we don't want it no one wants to get injured or they don't know they're not at a level they can even spar with us or whatever. So some of them they obviously have to go in the back room, and then when they're good enough, they can come through and start training with us as well. So it's a good little thing, man. That's we got going on there. So it's good to see, man. And we're just going from strength to strength at the minute at Team Renegade.
Definitely, yeah. And as you say, I'm sure you know a lot about him than anyone else. But even from an outside perspective, that's clear to see. For this next fight that's coming up, it's almost like it's still in London. That remains the same, but it's almost like the polar opposite in terms of there's neither Jake or Leon are on the card this time round. How is that going to be different for you in terms of your preparation or the fight camp or whatever?
I mean, the fight before this, the last fight, and there was no one on the card with me, and the fight before that, so that's not an issue, to be honest. And there's none of my teammates on my on the card with me. You know, at the end of the day, you can't look for things like that. Look. Oh God, my teammate's not with me on, and you're in there by yourself at the end of the day. So you need to focus on yourself really. Don't get me wrong, it was class having Leon there and Jake. It was just having loads of local boys down there, all their corners down there. So it was just everyone was there. It was cool, but same again. I've been there loads of times where it's just been me and the 3-corner team or 2-corner team, and it's I'll still get in there and get the job done. So. It won't really be an issue, to be honest with me. No, it's not. It won't be an issue. I'll just get in there and go down there and do the job.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it won't be an issue. I'm not doubting that. And to be honest, if when you look down the card, there's so many guys and girls that have come through Cage Warriors with you at the same time. You probably know half of them anyway. So it's I'm sure you won't be shy of people to talk to in the fighter hotel and whatever. So obviously we've already mentioned that you're going to be fighting in London. That's quite a few times in a row now you're fighting in London. Is that something you prefer, or are you happy just as long as they keep rolling out cards here to just fight here, or do you want to sort of do a few more cards abroad, or are you not bothered?
You know what? I like fighting abroad and stuff as well, but it is a lot easier fighting in London. They're doing March and July's, and they're having me on the cards. It's so much easier for myself anyway. So just to go down to London and fight. But don't get me wrong, I would like to fight abroad and stuff. I just know they got the card in France. That's only over the road in Paris. That'd be nice. I haven't fought in France. They got the Abu Dhabi card. October. That'd be good as well. But in America, I've only fought in Vegas, which I like. I like fighting in Vegas. That was cool. But it'd be good to go somewhere different as well. So yeah, man, I'm up for anything they offer me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just one of those where guys like you just guarantee them the ticket sales in London. So why would they not have you on the card? So I'm sure that if you wanted to be on them, then you're always going to have a spot on it. But as I say, it's fun to get to travel the world a little bit as well, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, 100%.
So the last, obviously your last fight and the fight before, in terms of from a fan's perspective, it felt to me like you've sort of really turned a corner. Not turned a corner because it's not like you're in a bad position anyway, but sort of leveled up a little bit from after that Topuria fight. How do you feel that yourself in that you've had sort of 2 dominant wins now, and are you really riding dominant wins? Obviously, the last one was a draw, but it feels like a win. Do you feel like you're riding that momentum yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the I'm the fight's my first contract. didn't go most like a lot of them didn't go my way, so a few of them didn't go my way. So, but I learned a lot from those, and I've really learned how to play the game better. How to like, especially at this level, how to go out there and win fights. And my fight IQ, I feel like that's got a lot better. But now I feel like I'm gonna keep that, get that better. But then also I'm gonna get the finishes come back again. Do you know what I'm trying to say? All the finishes I was getting before, like when I was in other promotions, Killjoys and wherever, etc. I'm starting to get I'm getting a better martial artist, better fight IQ. But I'm gonna keep that as well. But then the finishes are gonna start coming back as well.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think the fight IQ thing you said there, that's almost like perfectly explains sort of the difference between where have you seen you perform, where have you seen you recently. I mean, because like you look at that Topuria fight, and there is absolutely no doubt for anyone that has watched that fight that you had the ability to hang with him, considering you almost flattened him in the early stages. But it's really great to see that you're leveling up, and it's exciting for us fans. And I'm sure none of us have any doubts that those finishes are going to come back.
But it's like that fight. Now I'd have gone about things different in the fight. Do you know now? Like if that fight had happened now, do you know what I'm saying? Because I've learned. I learned the hard way, but sometimes that's how it's got to be done.
Sometimes you do need to learn the hard way, and I mean, there's only one or two fighters in the entire history that have ever gone through things unbeaten, and a lot of the guys we see as sort of the best guys are people that have had to learn the hard way. And in the UFC, when you're up against these guys, you are against the elite of the elite, and any slight thing that you do wrong, or even not even wrong, just not amazing, is going to be punished. But as I say, it's from an outside perspective, it is noticeable just how much better you seem to be getting between every single fight. And with that being said, how do you feel about sort of the matchup this time around against Fares Ziam? How do you think it's going to go in the cage?
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Pretty similar styles, to be honest. He's a tall, rangy kickboxer. He don't mind grappling a bit, to be honest. If you watch his fights, he does like to mix it up, shooting for double legs and as such. But yeah, I see me going out there and just getting the win. Yeah, winning every position, to be honest. With the striking and the grappling. Yeah, I'm confident to go out there and get the win.
Yeah, great. Well, we can't wait to watch it.
Sorry, I got the mentality, for how I'm gonna beat him over the 3 rounds. But I'm going there to I will be looking to get the stoppage, get the finish.
Yeah, and just keep that train rolling, because for me as well, it does seem like giving you this fight, the UFC is almost basically gone, yeah, he basically won that last fight anyway, because it does feel like sort of the next step along, even though they are all great fighters. So so the plan is the plan to get this one done, and then is that you for the year, or would you look to have one sort of end of the year Christmas time?
Yeah, end of the year, yeah. Like I say, they got the Abu Dhabi in October, or something in October, November would be good, man.
Definitely. Yeah. Great. Well, in terms of the questions I've got prepared, that's it. Is there any social medias or any sponsors or anything you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, obviously I'm on Instagram, Jai Herbert MMA. Check me out on there, give me a follow and that, and stuff. Jai Herbert as well on Facebook. Yeah, I want to shout out on a couple of sponsors. That obviously Renegade Jiu Jitsu. They've been looking after me for that how many years now. New Ink Tattoo Studio there's a new sponsor there, down in Wolverhampton in Tetnall. Really good guys. IGR Fitness as well. They've come on board as well. So shout out to them, Samuel Jim. And yeah, man. And shout out my physio at OptiSpine in Womben. Yeah, man. Shout out all those guys, helping out. Yeah, man. Enough respect. And shout out my missus. I've got to shout out the missus, she's
Yeah.
He's my number one fan. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure because I think it's a tough job being a fighter, and it's a tough job being with someone who's a fighter as well. So much respect to everyone who is.
yeah,
So thanks so much for coming on, Jai. We really appreciate it. Obviously, just for everyone who's watching, Jai's going to be fighting against Fares Ziam, and that's going to be on UFC London, and that's on the 22nd of July this year. Thanks again, Jai, for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's an honor to have someone of your caliber come on and give up your time. So that was Jai Herbert here with us at Combat Sports UK. I'm Danny Galloway, and thank you very much for watching.
yes, guys. Thank you.